While I was in labor, my husband turned off my phone and told the hospital I had no emergency contacts. When I asked him why, he said, "You only need me now." But he didn't know I'd given my nurse a password and a name to call if anything went wrong. When she walked in with my lawyer, I gave birth last November in Manhattan. It was at New York Presbyterian, Upper East Side. I remember the smell of antiseptic and stale coffee, the beeping monitors, the nurse who rubbed my back when contractions hit harder than I expected. What I didn't expect, what I still can't believe, was what my husband did while I was too broken and drugged to stop him. His name is Travis. We met in college freshman year. He was charming, confident. People liked him right away. We got serious fast. By senior year, we were living together in Jersey City. Married 3 years later. On the outside, we looked solid. I thought we were solid. I got pregnant after 5 years of marriage. It wasn't a surprise. We'd been trying. The first few months were fine. But something changed when I hit the 3rd trimester. It's hard to describe. Travis started hovering more, telling me I shouldn't go out alone, that I should stop driving, that I didn't need to overwhelm myself with phone calls or work drama. It sounded caring, at first. Then came the subtle stuff. He'd answer my phone if it rang and tell me later it was just spam. He started putting my phone on silent and turning off notifications. Once, I caught him with my phone in the bathroom, and he said he was checking the baby app. He always had a reason. Around 34 weeks, I started getting this sick feeling. It wasn't anything I could point to directly, just this sense that I wasn't safe. Not in a physical danger kind of way, but emotionally, like he was tightening something around me, and I wouldn't notice until it was too late. I confided in my sister, Maya. She's always been the one person who could smell bullshit a mile away. She told me straight up, "I don't like how he talks to you. I don't like how he acts like no one else matters." I shrugged it off, defended him, but deep down, I heard her. Then I did something I didn't tell anyone about, not even Maya. I looked up a lawyer, one that specialized in maternal rights and domestic legal issues. I scheduled a private appointment one afternoon when I said I had a prenatal massage. The lawyer, Melissa, was direct. She said if I had even a whisper of doubt, I should set up protection before the baby comes. She helped me draft a legal document giving my sister temporary guardianship if anything went wrong and gave me steps to take to alert the hospital. The week before my due date, I went to my OB and handed them a sealed envelope with a password and my sister's info. I told them plainly, if anything happens, if anything feels wrong, call this number. Don't ask me, just do it. Then I went into labor. It started late at night. I was calm at first. I told Travis it was time, and he packed the car. He was all smiles and jokes on the drive, saying how lucky we were to finally meet our son. He played our playlist on the car stereo. I was in pain but holding it together. When we got there, they wheeled me into triage and prepped for delivery. That's when things started slipping. I remember reaching for my phone after a contraction passed, and it wasn't there. I asked Travis where it was. He said, "Don't worry. It's in your bag." I asked him to get it. He said, "Let's just focus on the baby, okay?" I let it go. I was scared, tired, and honestly, I trusted him more than I trusted myself in that moment. Labor got worse. I lost sense of time. They gave me something through the for that made me hazy. I remember voices. I remember pain. I remember Travis holding my hand and whispering, "You don't need anyone else. I'm here. It's just us." That phrase stuck. It's just us. He said it over and over like a chant. When I really came to, it was the next morning. Our son was born. He was in the bassinet. Healthy. Breathing. I was alive. But everything felt off. I asked the nurse if Maya had called. She looked puzzled. "No emergency contacts are listed," she said. "Your husband said not to call anyone." That's when everything in my body turned cold. I looked at Travis. He was eating a bagel and scrolling on his phone. Calm as hell. "Where's my phone?" I asked again. He didn't look up. Just said, "You don't need it." Everything's fine. You have me now. Right then, the nurse walked back in. Her eyes met mine. I gave her the nod. The signal I'd told them about. 15 minutes later, Maya came in. Not alone. She had Melissa, my lawyer, with her. Travis looked up and froze. He looked from Maya to the lawyer to me. I could see it hit him. His face drained. My sister walked to my bed, hugged me gently, and whispered, "I've got you now." Then Melissa handed Travis a folder. Temporary restraining order. Emergency guardianship filing. Demand for access to my phone, and full hospital visitation logs. Travis tried to talk. He sputtered. "What is this? What the hell is this?" I didn't answer. I turned away from him and looked at my son. After Travis left the hospital room, escorted out by security at Melissa's request, I sat there in that stiff hospital bed, numb. My son was sleeping. My sister was crying quietly in the corner. The lawyer was talking, but I could barely hear her. All I could think was, he planned this. He really thought he could cut me off from everyone I love, while I was giving birth. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just went cold. I went into this mode where everything turned sharp and focused, like I'd been underwater for months and was finally breathing again. When Melissa showed me what she'd found on my iCloud, that's when the real fire started. He deleted everything off my physical phone, texts, call logs, voicemails. But he wasn't smart enough to log me out of iCloud. The backup showed it all. And I mean everything. Text to his mother saying, "She's going to try to make a scene at the hospital, but I've got it under control. I'm listed as her only contact." Another to a friend, "Once the baby's here, I'll push to move her out to Long Island. Get her away from Maya and those toxic people." But the worst one? A message to some number I didn't recognize. "She'll be too tired to fight. I've got full control now." That's when I knew this wasn't just about labor. He'd been planning something deeper. Longer. He wanted me isolated. Dependent. Cut off. He wanted to own me. Asked Melissa to find out who that number belonged to. It didn't take long. It was a woman. 26. A yoga instructor from Brooklyn. He'd been seeing her for 6 months. Maya lost it. She wanted to go find him, scream in his face. I told her no. We don't scream. We don't throw things. We gather evidence. We hit where it hurts. And then we found something else. A shared bank account Travis had opened without telling me. He'd moved $12,000 out of our savings over the past few months, small transfers, just under the radar. Melissa said he was setting up a new life. Probably preparing to move in with this woman after isolating me with the baby. He was going to gaslight me until I broke down. Maybe even try to get me on medication, claim I was unstable. There are men who do that. Slow, subtle manipulation until you're the one who looks crazy. But now? I had him in a corner. That night, Melissa filed for full emergency custody until a formal court date. We listed medical manipulation, emotional coercion, financial fraud, and a pattern of deceptive behavior. The hospital nurse gave a written statement confirming he instructed them not to list any contacts or allow visitors. The logs showed he was the one who told them I didn't want to be disturbed. We backed it all up, documented every word. But then came the twist I didn't see coming. The hospital's social worker pulled me aside the next morning. She told me Travis had already tried to file his version of events, that I was paranoid, anxious, and prone to emotional instability, that he was trying to protect me during labor. He even claimed I'd told him not to let anyone in because they were stressing me out. He was preparing his defense. He'd painted me as unstable, as erratic, as emotionally fragile. And the worst part? He used my pregnancy hormones and past therapy sessions as proof. He had saved screenshots of old texts from months ago, when I was scared, crying, unsure of myself. Times when I said, "I don't know if I'm okay," or "I feel like I'm drowning." He'd compiled them into a timeline. That's when I realized he had been building a case against me while I was pregnant. He wasn't reacting. He was planning. And now he was fighting back. He wasn't going down quietly. But neither was I. We left the hospital 3 days later. My sister drove me and the baby to her apartment in Queens. I didn't want to go back to our condo. It felt dirty now, violated. Every inch of that place had been part of his plan, part of how he boxed me in. At Maya's, I finally let myself cry. I held my son against my chest and just let go. Not because I was weak, but because I had to clear out the rage before I made my next move. Then the twist hit. Travis filed an emergency petition for joint custody. Not even a week after he'd been served with a restraining order. His lawyer tried to argue that I was making up everything in a fit of postpartum instability. They submitted a psychiatric history release form. I'd been in therapy 2 years ago for anxiety after my dad died. Travis was now using that to say I had a long-standing pattern of emotional imbalance. I couldn't believe it. The same man who'd whispered, "You only need me now," while I was in labor was now publicly claiming I was unfit to parent. But it got worse. The yoga instructor? Her name is Danny. She showed up at the courthouse with him. Pregnant. 5 months along. Wearing a loose sweater and holding his hand like they were some happy, expectant couple. My knees almost buckled. This wasn't just betrayal. It was a full campaign. He wasn't trying to win me back or hide his mistakes. He was trying to erase me, paint me as unhinged, and replace me with someone easier to control. But what they didn't know, was how far I'd gone to protect myself. Melissa had gotten me a court-ordered phone data dump. We had logs of every time he accessed my phone, every deleted message, every time he changed a setting or blocked someone. We had hospital staff records. Surveillance footage of him using my phone in waiting rooms. Even proof he signed off as me on certain forms. We also had an affidavit from Maya. She'd visited the condo once while I was still pregnant and heard him on the phone telling someone, "She won't remember any of this after the baby. She's too emotional to think straight." But the biggest twist came when we dug into Danny. Melissa ran a background check. Turns out Danny had a sealed family court record. A prior incident involving her own ex and a custody battle she lost 2 years ago. The judge had flagged her as unreliable, easily manipulated, and inconsistent under pressure. She had no idea we knew. At the next court appearance, Melissa filed a motion to introduce new evidence. And that's when we played our card. We subpoenaed Danny. In court. Under oath. With her record unsealed. And the look on Travis's face when she got served right outside the courtroom door? That was the first time I saw real fear in his eyes. Danny tried to act calm when she got served, but she cracked fast. In her first sworn statement, she claimed she didn't know about Travis's marriage until I filed the restraining order. But her text history said otherwise. We pulled cell tower logs and location data from Travis's iCloud account. She'd been to our home more than a dozen times while I was at prenatal checkups, or while I was asleep in the bedroom. They had laughed about me, mocked how tired I looked, how slow I'd gotten, called it baby brain. The judge called her back for a second hearing. That's when it blew up. Melissa asked her, "Did Travis ever tell you he was isolating his wife? Turning off her phone? Cutting her off from her family during labor?" Danny looked at Travis, then the judge, and broke. She started crying. Said she didn't know what he was doing at the hospital, but that he talked a lot about how hard it was to deal with a woman who was emotional all the time. She admitted she helped him open a second bank account, not knowing it was being funded by drained joint funds. Said she thought I was already out of the picture. That testimony nuked his case. Within a week, Travis's motion for joint custody was denied. The judge awarded me full legal and physical custody. Supervised visitation for Travis, no overnights, no alone time. Everything documented. Danny was barred from being present during any visitations. But I wasn't done. I went after the money. All of it. Melissa filed a civil suit for financial misconduct and marital fraud. We tracked every dollar that went missing. I showed receipts of what was mine before the marriage, what I brought into the household, and how he siphoned money behind my back while I was pregnant and emotionally vulnerable. I also went after his job. Travis worked in PR at a tech startup. Image mattered. Melissa prepared a carefully worded packet Legal filings, public documents, court statements, everything verifiable and factual. I didn't even have to say much. Just sent it to the company's board and HR. He was fired 2 weeks later. Moral conflict with company values. No severance. By month 4, Travis had moved into a basement studio in Staten Island, sharing the space with a roommate who was on probation. He begged for more visitation time. The court reviewed his behavior and said no. Not until he showed a sustained period of stability and accountability. The earliest review was set for 2 years out. Danny? She left him. Said she didn't sign up for all this legal mess. She moved back to live with her sister in Virginia. Rumor has it she gave the baby up for adoption. I never confirmed it and I didn't ask. As for me, I didn't come out of this without scars. I'd let myself believe things were okay for too long. I ignored signs. I minimized my own instincts. That part of me, the part that second-guessed everything, didn't die, but I learned to stop listening to it when it tried to protect his image instead of mine. Therapy helped.
So did time.
My son is almost 1 now. He's healthy, safe, laughs when he sees Maya, reaches for me when he's scared, sleeps with his little hand on my arm like he needs to know I'm real. I don't tell him about his father.
Not yet.
One day I will. And when I do, I'll tell him the truth. His father tried to control me, to erase me, to make me feel small while I was bringing life into this world. But I didn't stay quiet. I didn't disappear. I fought back. And I won.